We're on Daf Pei Daled, which is 84a, and we're really in the middle of the page, a little bit ahead. It starts with Amalei Yaakov Mina l'Rava. Now, Yaakov Mina sounds like Yaakov the heretic, says to Rava. Although there is another girsa here that says Yaakov Matzah, says to Rava, because the commentaries are concerned, why would we mention the name of a heretic? Shem Rishon Yerkov, the name of a wicked person should be blotted out. But we're going to see that there's reason to assume that he wasn't a heretic from his language. So Amalei Yaakov Mina l'Rava. Yaakov Mina says to Rava, Kaimalan, from that word, Kaimalan. We've established, or we've accepted, he includes himself in the rabbinic discussion. So, unless that abbreviation could be translated different. Chaya b'chlal behemel simanim. It doesn't say in the Torah the signs of a kosher animal for a wild animal. It only says for a regular animal, for a domesticated animal. But nevertheless, the fact that it says it by a regular animal includes a wild animal. So let's go the other way and say that a regular animal is included in a wild animal for covering the blood, because we've been taught that it's only the wild animals that you have to cover the blood. Amalei Rava responds to Malech Amakra. Regarding you, or regarding your question, the pasuk says Alar Tishbechenu Kamayim. There's a pasuk that says that the blood gets spilt on the floor. It's talking about not the karbanos, after the karbanos, when so that you don't have to sprinkle the blood. Ma mayim lebaiki. So it's a comparison, just like the blood spills on the floor like water. So we're comparing it to water. Just like water doesn't need to be covered, you don't have to cover it. So it says clearly you don't have to cover the blood by a domesticated animal. Elameata, if that's the case, this is probably him asking back. If you're comparing it to water, you have to be labai. You should be able to use blood as a mikveh. So he says, Amakra ach mayin ubar mikveh mayim yatar. Haniyin midiachrin alai. It says, but a spring, a well, or a gathering of water will make pure. This will make pure, and not others, not blood. Gemara says, maybe that verse that says a spring, a well, and the gathering of water is excluding everything that's not called water. But the blood is called water. Yeah. Okay. So the Gemara says, well, we can cover that as well, because it says twice exclusions. It says mayan mayim ubar mayim. Does it actually say that? I think what it means is mayan ubar mikveh mayim. It means mayan mayim ubar mayim. I think that's what it means. That we have two exclusions. So one of them would be exclusion all other liquids that aren't water. The other one is excluding blood that is called water. The Gemara says, 1 second, how do you know that that's the case? Maybe it's coming to exclude two types of other liquids that aren't called water. And there's two possibilities. Either the liquid is flowing or the liquid is stationary, standing still. And that are both not acceptable for a mikveh. So what happened was we compared. We said, why don't have to cover the blood of a domesticated animal, only a wild animal or a bird? We said because it was. The pasuk says it's spilt on the floor like water. So we said if it's like water, then you should be able to use it as a mikveh. So we're saying no, it's not a good mikveh because we have exclusions in the verses of mikveh that are excluding something. So we're saying what's it excluding? Maybe it's only excluding other liquids, not blood. So we said, well, we have two exclusions. So we said, but maybe it's excluding the other liquids in our blood in two ways. If it's stationary or if it's flowing. Right? The Gemara says, we have three exclusions. Mayim, bar mayim, and mikveh mayim. All of those exclusions are excluding flowing, stationary, and blood. Okay. That's the end of this discussion. Okay.
It would be funny to use blood as water,
Right. I guess in desperate.
Yeah. I'm saying even water you can't use as mikveh unless it's rainwater or well water or something like that. Even water has restrictions. You can't just use any water.
Right. Well, that's what we were saying. The flowing. It can't be flowing. Right.
Is there a pasuk anywhere that says Mayim Chayim, that lashon?
Yeah.
So
yeah, by the Paraduma.
And we also have elsewhere Dam Hu Nefesh. So Dam is Chayim. So why can't you say Mayim Chayim, Dam Chayim, Mayim and Dam, and so on? Nobody brings it, but I mean, because
what
no
I'm
one
thinking
brings it.
is that what the Gemara would be referring to is that liquids can ruin a mikvah if there's mixed into it and the color changes, and the mikvah could get ruined. Well, maybe you can say here, maybe that's what it's referring to. That if there would be blood in the mikvah would be ruined. Well, maybe not, because it says that water is blood. Maybe that's the pshat.
That's not, Dam is not mentioned in the Mishnayos.
In the Mishnayos?
No.
Over there it's wine and other things.
Right, never mentions blood.
Okay. Tana Rabbanan was taught in a Bais, Asher Yatzid, talking about the section that discusses eating animals. It says when you will hunt, you will catch. So this is over there. It says you cover the blood. Eily, Asher Yatzid. You only have to cover the blood for those that were hunted, or that were trapped. Those things that are naturally trapped already, like geese and chickens. Maybe over there you don't have to cover the blood. It says so the extra word over there says that it's including other things, even things that are already captured. So why does it say that you will go ahead and capture? So limda Torah derech eretz. The Torah is teaching us proper manners. That you don't eat meat unless it's at a special times. You caught something, then you can go eat meat. But it shouldn't be that you're just taking from your flock and just slaughtering meat. It should be like a catch, like something unique. Tana Rabbanan. The rabbis taught in a Bais.
I didn't understand that point.
That means that meat should not be eaten as a staple. Meat should be something special. That it's caught something. It shouldn't be that we have a flock and we just every day slaughter another one and have that. It should be like a catch.
The English commentary says that is to avoid overspending, meaning that could lead to poverty. One should consume meat infrequently, as if he needed to trap an animal for this purpose each and every time. In words, like don't live to eat to live.
Right. Right. Very good.
Good. Thank you.
Healthy.
Thank you.
In moderation.
Right. There goes Atkins. Tana Rabbanan. The rabbis taught in a brisa. When Hashem will broaden your boundaries, limda Torah derech eretz. The Torah is teaching us proper manners. A person should only eat meat. How do they translate l'teyavan?
Craving.
With a craving. That's a little with an really an appetite.
Or
That's an interesting thing
satisfy a desire.
because I wonder like how this could be translated, because I can say, well, l'teyavan, I have an appetite every day. I have an appetite. It means that you shouldn't be eating meat regularly. Yachal yikach adam min hashuk v'yachal. Maybe a person should go to the market and buy an animal and eat it. Talmud Laimar v'zavachtim min b'karcha mitzayincha. No, if you have it in the flock, you can slaughter it, but don't go to the market and buy meat. Yachal yisbach kol b'kari v'yachal kol tzayna v'yachal. Okay, if I have it in my flock, I can eat it. So maybe I can just slaughter one a day, and I'll just, or maybe if I only have one, just slaughter that one and eat it. No, you don't eat it all. It's from your flock, from your sheep. From here, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says, if someone has 100 dinar, it's a mana, it's a large coin. It's about a half a year's salary. Yikach lepisai. Pisai is either means lalapsa or means for his pot. Rashi says it means for his pot. He should purchase for his to cook up litra yerach, a measurement of vegetables. He has a half a year's salary in savings. What should he eat? Vegetables. Asara mana. Let's say he has more. This is a 5-year salary. He has in savings. He has enough for 5 years. It's 200 mana.
Where'd you get the mana as a half a year salary?
200 mana is a year salary.
That's another more salary?
That has to do with who's considered a poor person. Right. It also, well, yeah, but does that mean a year? I don't know. It says a year's salary is considered that he's not considered poor if he has money for a year, or if he has a steady income or his savings for a year.
So mana is 100 zuz?
Yeah.
100 zuz.
The dinar and the zuz is the same. So what should he do if he has such a savings? So yikach lepisai litra dagim. He should buy fish. Seems that fish is more expensive than vegetables, but it's still not meat. Chamisha mana. Wow, so big savings. 50 mana. Yikach lepisai litra basa. Then he can already buy meat. Taisus says that it's a little strange because we have a medrash that says regarding guests that the first day you serve them the best food, the next day you serve them a little less, and then till you keep going down in what you serve to your guests. So he starts off with, the first one is geese, the second day is fish, and the third day is meat. So the fish seem to be more expensive than the meat. He says there's different places where it depends where they live.
Right.
They lived on the river, it was different.
Right.
Okay.
So every day you feed them less until they get the hint?
Right.
Till they get the hint.
Right. What about Meyamana?
I'm not coming to your house.
For more than a day.
Mondays is my day.
Let's say he has Meyamana. This is a big savings. So, Yisvasai, it's probably originally the same word as for his pot, or should place it. No, Yisvasai means he should place his pot. Yisvasai like Kedera B'chol Yom. He should place his pot every day. Now, what's he cooking? Guess he's cooking meat.
Meat.
Now, the Gemara now asks.
Is there a mitzvah to eat meat every Shabbos or something?
Yeah.
Not fish, meat.
Well, it says fish also.
Fish.
Yeah. Simcha, meat is associated with simcha. We usually say that there's no mitzvah of simcha on Shabbos, although I've been told that the Torah Tamima holds yes, but usually simcha is associated with Yom Tov. And but there is Einik Shabbos. So I forget what they say. We consider chicken like meat in the same. But people have meat Yom Tov.
I'm saying that you're supposed to eat meat/chicken on Shabbos Yom Tov, regardless of whether you're rich or poor.
Right.
That would not be a contradiction to this.
Uh-huh. So you think this
Yeah,
is
but
only
you just
during
have
the
to
week?
be- no,
I don't
but-
think so.
When you eat meat on Shabbos, it's just a piece. It doesn't have to be a whole meal.
Right. Right. But the Gemara tells us that Asay Shabbat Chachal, treat Shabbos food-wise, at least expenses-wise, like a weekday. And not to ask others for money to help for Shabbos.
Well, that's if you're poor.
Right. Right.
Not the average.
So maybe
individual.
this is telling you what you can spend your money on, because if you have a savings that you have, it's not like you're getting interest on it or anything. Every day you're
Right.
watching it go down. So what can you spend it on? The Gemara is telling you that no, you're okay. You can buy vegetables. Okay. The Gemara asks, okay, you have meyamana, so you put a pot up every day. Ve'enach emas. What about the people? When do they put up a pot? It says dagim and basar. Or they're not going to eat every day. So it says ema me'erev Shabbos le'erev Shabbos. They put up a pot from Shabbos to Shabbos. Now, what does that mean? That the rest of the week they're having leftovers? Is that what it means?
Why should they be different than everyone else?
They said, what's the difference between a bacher and a balabas? So a bacher starts eating cholent on Thursday night, and a balabas eats cholent until Thursday night.
Cute.
Okay, we even know someone that would take out the cholent the following Shabbos, just put it right back on the fire.
Yeah.
Very not gashmias,
Wow.
just whatever. Next, was in the fridge all week. Was next Shabbos again.
It works actually. If you have too much chunk left over, which unfortunately by my house is a rarity, but if let's say you overdid it, you can actually freeze it. Someone told it to my wife and she tried once.
When after
And,
Shabbos you freeze it?
You freeze it and then put it back in. Usually you have to add stuff. It doesn't really taste the same, but I mean, as far as it's supposed to about tashlis.
Right.
If you were stuck with a whole bunch of chult.
Right.
I mean, as I say, it's usually pretty rare to be left with.
That's why they invented microwaves for children.
Amarav. Rav says, you see, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah just gave us a list of how to spend money on food. Rav says, we have to suspect to the zakin, to the elder, referring to Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Now, I should point out, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah was fabulously wealthy. His meiser, the Gemara tells us, was 12,000 cattle. That was his meiser.
Wow.
Yeah, that was his meiser. He was fabulously wealthy.
He owned cities and all that. Yeah, something like that.
It could be.
So a
It could
real
be.
estate mogul?
When they were looking for a new head of the yeshiva, he in his praise, they said, well, he's miyuchas, he's a 10th generation from Ezra, he's wealthy. He had all the criteria of. Okay, and nevertheless, he says how to spend money on food. So Amar Rabbi Yochanan.
Maybe that's why he was wealthy, because he didn't blow it all.
That could be. Yeah, what do they say? You watch your pennies, and God will take care of the dollars. And so, Rabbi Yochanan says differently. Rabbi Yochanan says, "Abba mishpachas priyim havu." Rabbi Yochanan says that Rav, he calls Rav Abba. That's a name that Rabbi Yochanan calls Abba. We had before. Was his name really Abba, or was that a title that he's giving him? But he says us. Rabbi Yochanan says, if someone has a coin, he should go to the market and spend it and feed himself. He shouldn't starve himself because he wants to spend less money on his food. Rav was much stronger, and he could do this. He didn't have to eat, but we have to eat. It's not good when you say, "Oh, I'm going to spend less," and then, I know people that go to an amusement park or something, and a drink over there is a few dollars, so they spend the whole day not drinking. So they have a miserable time. They come back with a headache. So they saved their money, but they wasted their money. So Rabbi Yochanan saying, you're saving your money, but you have to be healthy. You have to be able to live. Amar Rab Nachman. Rab Nachman says, "K'gainanu lavin v'eichlin." We borrow to eat. Okay. Guess he's
Credit cards.
right. Okay, let's see. We're going to go through some psukim here. Kvasim lilvushecha. It says sheep should be for your clothing. Migeiz kvasim malbushecha. You should use wool clothing, and that was as opposed to silk, which was more expensive. Mechir sedei atudim. You should sell a field for cattle. La'ilam yimkar adam sadeh vikach atudim val yimkar adam atudim vikach sadeh. It's better to have cattle than to have a field. The cattle you're able to get more produce from.
More cattle.
Yes, and milk, and you can also have clothing. So you have milk and clothing from your sheep, which, well, I guess in the field you can also grow flax and other things.
Because they need some field to eat from.
That's right. That's right. You can't just feed it milk. They say the guy said he's feeding his cow milk and it's giving milk. He's making money. They said, so how do you make money like that? Because it has to drink milk. So he said, no, you don't understand. I give it a gallon of milk and it gives me a gallon of milk. They said, yeah, but that's not a business. He says, no, I give it chalavakim, but it gives me chalav Yisrael. So, okay. So, the day chalav izim, and it's enough, the milk of goats. It's enough for a person that he could live off the milk of the goats and the sheep that's in his house. This is like the most surprising part here. It says your food comes before the food of your household. It means, I guess it's referring to the person that's working, that his food should come first and the rest of the household will eat after. He has to be able to work. I guess that's my explanation for this. Otherwise, it just says that he eats first. B'chaim lenarisecha, and life for your lads, I guess for your family. Amar Marzucha Breder of Nachman. Marzucha, the son of Rav Nachman, says, Ten chaim lenarisecha, you should give life to your family. What does that mean? Mikan lim d'ter derechet shlayilmad adam esbenai basar v'yayin. You shouldn't teach your children to have meat and wine daily. You should train them to eat less than their means, to be satisfied with. Yeah, this is interesting. Important. The tourists, they come, they eat in the restaurants. The rest of us are.
They're the ones with the suntans.
You can't get into the restaurants.
That's right.
It's like the story about the man who had a horse. The only problem with the horse was that it ate too much. So he decided to train it to eat less. He trained it and trained it. One day, he says it died, and I just about had him trained.
We're almost there, huh? I'm Rabbi Yochanan. Person that wants to get rich should be involved with small animals, because the small animals will you can get the milk in the wool and they reproduce and it's now Tosfos points out that he says that anyone that has a small animal doesn't see sign of blessing. Tosfos answers that it depends where you are. If you're in the public eye in the city, then there's an ayin hara there. But if you're out in the field, it's much better. That's Tosfos answers. Amar Rav Chisda, Maidaksiv Vashtres Tzeinecha. What does it mean? The word Vashtres Tzeinecha. Rashi has two pshatim, and Rashi, of course, takes from the Gemara. But one of the interpretations is Shema Ashtres Es Baleim, that it makes the owners wealthy. Ashtres means wealth. Ashiris. The other interpretation means the strong. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Kisei Decharshin like Kisei Depaishin. It's better to drink a cup of witchcraft, but not a cup of lukewarm water. Bahani Mili, but when do we say this? Bekli Mateches. This is in a metal cup. There's something wrong with lukewarm water in a metal cup. But if it's in an earthenware, that's not a problem.
Well, because they're saying like if it's a lead cup or something and it's hot water, it's going to pick up more of the heavy
toxins,
metal.
right? And klicheres probably keeps it cooler anyway. And even in the metal, it's not a problem if you don't throw some wood sticks in, tea leaves, tea twigs. But if you put in
They call it herbs.
herbs, okay, herbs is better. So if you put in these herbs, less than it's not a problem. And even if you don't put in the herbs, that's only that's only if it wasn't boiled. But if it's avotzayitz lesenba, that wouldn't be a problem. This is interesting because there was places where they couldn't drink the water unless it was boiled or made into some other drink. Rabbi Yochanan says, this is a Gemara in Bab Metzia, in Eily Metzias. If someone has an inheritance and he wants to lose it, right to Laban, why would he want to lose it? To avoid taxes.
Want to borrow money? Go do this.
It could be, that's what it's telling you. It's telling you, don't do this or you'll lose it. So what should he do?
He uses the term in the translation sarcastically.
Oh.
Right, exactly.
Oh.
Spending frivolously, like you want to lose your money.
So Yilbash Kli Pishtan. He should wear, Pishtan doesn't sound so expensive, flax. Vishtamish Bekli Zchuchas. And you should use crystal or glass cups. Yiskar Payalim, hire workers, Val Yeshiv Imam, and don't sit with them. That means don't watch your workers. That's
So let them steal.
Yeah, well, we're going to see how the Gemara is going to explain it. What's the problem with flax? Yilbish Kli Pishtan, it says that's Bekitna Rumaisa. That's with the Roman flax.
Very
The Roman
expensive.
linen, that's very expensive. Vishtamish Beklei Zechuches, and you should use glass. That's Bezugisa Chivarta. That's with white crystal. White glass. Yiskar Pailam Al Yeshav Iman. Hire workers and don't sit with him. That's Peturi Denafish Pseidayu. That's with oxen, that there's a lot of loss. The different interpretations here, what the problem is. Some say that they won't dig if you don't watch how the plow is going through. If it doesn't go deep enough, then you'll sow the field, and it wasn't the holes, the burrows, weren't deep enough. It won't take root, or he'll rip up. They would have to plow around vineyards and trees, so the water and nutrients should be able to absorb in. It could rip up the roots if you're not careful. So all of you can have a big loss if you don't watch the workers with the plow. Dorosh Rav Avira taught Zimna Namla Mishmeder Rabami v'Zimna Namla Mishmeder Ravasi. Sometimes he said it in the name of Rabami, and sometimes he said it in the name of Rabasi. I assume they both said it. Mai Diksiv. What is the meaning of the pasuk? Good is a man that's generous and lends. Yichalkal devar b'mishpat, he's very calculated with his actions. A person should always eat and drink less than his ability. In other words, less than he can afford. He shouldn't spend what he can afford on this. On food. My grandmother says her mother was Romanian, so when she got married, she knew how to make eggplant like 100 different ways. So every night was a different recipe for eggplant. So after a year, my grandfather says, I think we can afford more than eggplant. So they moved on to other dishes.
Sorry, which
Egg
Rabbi
salad.
Yochanan are we referring to?
This is always Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan, unless there's a last name, is always Rabbi Yochanan ben Nafcha, who's the
The Nafka, he's
from Tiberia.
okay.
He's up here in the center. And Rabami, I didn't point out, Rabami and Rabasi would be his students. Rabami and Rabasi, also in Tiberia. They took over the yeshiva and the Bezdin in Tiberia. Okay, so that's regarding spending on food. When it comes to clothing, that you should spend up to your means. However, when it comes to honor of your wife and children, that you should spend more than your means. Because they're dependent on you, but you're dependent on the one that said and brought the world into being. Now, how do you spend more on them than your means? How do you spend more? Well, it could be because you just saved money on the food, which was below your means, so that you have. So the food is below the means, but the honor would go above the means. And it's interesting that the explanation that's given is because they're dependent on you, but you're dependent on the one that created the world. So what does that mean for your own honor? That you rely on Hashem. For their honor, you're the one that's supposed to be taking care of them. Darush Rav Eina apischa de berish galusa. Rav Eina taught at the entranceway to the house of the Reish Galusa. Okay, so far we've been on vacation, and now we have an extremely complex Gemara. So this is you have to concentrate a little differently here. He taught like this: Hasheichet l'chela b'Shabbos. If someone is sick on Shabbos and they need meat, so you're allowed to shecht for a sick person on Shabbos. However, chayav lechasis. You have to cover the blood with dirt. So you shechted, you have to cover the blood. Obviously, if it's a wild animal or a bird. Amalu Rava. Amalu Rabba. The Rabbi says to them, I guess the people standing there, Ashtaymakamar. He's saying something strange, like astonishing. L'shamtu la'amar. There's different interpretations. One is cut out his tongue. One is take the microphone away. There was a person there that would announce what he was saying, to remove him. And basically, it's not true what he's saying. Titania, as was taught in a brisa. Now, this brisa, you have to give. I'll point out what the point of the brisa is, what we're trying to bring out of it. But it's like it has all of these complicated kalvachaimers with several variables, which are very confusing. So, Rabbi Yosi Aimer, here's the brisa. Rabbi Yosi says, Koi ein shechten esa b'yamtiv. A koi, you're not allowed to shecht on yamtiv. V'im shachtu, and if you did shecht it, ein mechasen es damei. No, on yamtiv you're allowed to shecht. You're not allowed to shecht a koi, because we're not sure if you are allowed to cover the blood. There's ways of covering the blood on Yom Tov if you prepare the ashes from the oven. The Mishnah in Bais says so. But a koi you're not allowed to shecht, and if you did shecht, you can't cover the blood because a koi is a suffix if it's a wild animal or a domesticated animal. If it's a wild animal, then you do have to cover. So they tell you don't shecht just in case. And if you did shecht, then don't cover it or wait till the evening. You can't cover it on Yom Tov. And he gives a kal v'chaimer. Mikal v'chaimer. In other words, maybe I should cover the blood anyway, because on the possibility that maybe it's a wild animal and the blood needs to be covered. He says no. Ma mila shavada deicha Shabbos. When it comes to having a circumcision, a bris on Shabbos, we do it, even though that's a violation of Shabbos. But nevertheless, the